embargoed until. I'm still happy to stick to the original embargo. I know we're 5 to 10 minutes late, but we can go out from 2:15. There's just a couple of questions at the end, I think, for Sandra from the Sun, just embargoed at the end, but we'll make that clear. So I think we'll get started straight away. If we can start off with James from Sky, please.
Hiya, Casey. Can you hear me okay?
Hiya, James. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Nice to see you. I hope you've calmed down after the weekend or Friday night. Clearly, there's a lot that kind of disgruntled you, but in terms of looking forward, I guess it's about being ruthless and clinical and winning these 5 remaining games in the league, isn't it?
Yeah, I think on reflection, I think actually it wasn't a poor performance despite losing 2-0. I thought especially first half, I couldn't believe we went in behind. I suppose the disappointment wasn't really creating a bit of any note in the second half. So yeah, it's very much about what we can control now in terms of the next 5 games and finishing our chances. But I think that's pretty much been the tale of our season, if I'm honest.
Have you? I mean, we always ask questions about seeing a reaction from the players, but I mean, they would have hurt deeply because, of course, you're in a position where your fate's perhaps not in your hands like it was.
It did hurt. That was a very long journey home for everyone involved in the game. We had 2 days off after that, so players reflected, but I've obviously had conversations with them since, and yeah, they were angry about it, but now we need to turn that anger into performances, anger into goals, and make sure that we can control what we can and try and get maximum points before the game's left.
How much of a boost is it to be finally at Old Trafford? You came to the club in 2018 and we're talking almost 3 years, and now you're going to be coming out in the Theatre of Dreams as Manchester United's women's team.
Yeah, listen, as a club, it's a big step. Me as a head coach, it's a green grass, white lines and 2 goals, and I'm more interested in getting a win. But for the players, it's a fantastic moment to be able to step out here at Old Trafford and play. But we need a performance to make sure we win to remember it by.
One thing just crossed my mind just quickly when I watched the men play in the Munich 50 game. They played in old kits and it was too big for them because of the occasion. For some of your girls, they left the club because they didn't think they'd ever play for Manchester United, A, at Old Trafford, or B, in a women's team. Do you have to do anything special in terms of maybe a training session at Old Trafford to get their head around what will be a big occasion?
No, we've done some. I left it optional for the players. We've done some familiarisation today. Come visit the changing rooms, see the ground, see the pitch, have a look. So there's nothing new on Saturday. Those that wanted to come. Those that probably maybe don't need to haven't. So I always leave that in the players' hands to deal with it the way they want to. I'm never about playing the moment. It's all about playing the game, and let's make sure we do that.
Brilliant. If I can have a second bite later, that'd be great. Hayley.
Thanks, James. Alex, next, please.
Hi, Casey. How are you?
Hiya. Good, thank you.
So obviously, after Friday, you're going against West Ham in what is a big occasion, but West Ham are at bottom of the table. They've only won 2 league games so far. Is this the game that you want after a match? Like you said, you didn't play poorly against Arsenal, but it was a big loss, and it probably felt more of a loss than in terms of the scoreline. And like we mentioned, that the fate is out of your hands, but it was a good performance. And would you rather go into the game against a West Ham that is bottom of the league, or would you rather have had a more intense game, sort of say, for lack of a better word?
We always have had difficult games against West Ham previously, and let's not hide away from, they're fighting for their lives, so that makes them difficult in terms of to play against. They're a physical team, they like to put the ball in the box, but we're playing on a big pitch, we know that, and if we use the ball very well and we move it in the way we can, and we get ourselves in the right areas to score goals, we know we can hurt them. So we want a response. I want a response from the players want a response from themselves, and they want to get all 3 points on the board.
And you mentioned that the pitch is bigger, so you do have to adapt your game just slightly. Is playing at Old Trafford in a game where you really want to bounce back and get all 3 points, is it an advantage to you?
It's only an advantage if you win. So yeah, it's a great occasion, but it'll be very much focused on how we can exploit them, what we need to do to nullify their threats. It'll be a fantastic surface to play on, so we can play our football and we can move the ball quickly and hopefully break them down, because they sit in a 5-4-1. They are very defensive. It's not going to be easy to do that, but I know that I've got players capable.
And reflecting on Friday, this was the first time that Arsenal, in at least the past 2 seasons, have gone under 40% possession. You know, that was a big testament, and I was kind of debating whether that was more of an Arsenal compromise, and they went out with that mindset against you guys to kind of, you know, they played the long balls. They weren't too focused on playing out the back, because you did get them at that in the first game. And you know, you guys did have a lot more possession than Arsenal did, which is unlikely against a team like Arsenal, who like to play that style of play. What were the takeaways that you saw from that? You know, it wasn't a poor performance. You did control the tempo, you did control the possession, as I just mentioned. So what were your biggest takeaways from Friday?
I think you always have to try and take the positives, don't you? You know, I think the fact that they went beyond our press, I think, is credit to my players from the first game. And also, we still won the ball back in really key areas the other night and created chances from it. So I think they were fearful of the press. Credit to them, they adapted their game. My takeaway is you've got to be harder to beat. You know, if you're going to go and possess the ball, and you're going to, you know, we can't concede within 2 minutes. That puts us on the back foot in a game where if we would have been 60, 70 minutes at 0-0, they would have had to have come out a little bit more. They would have had to have opened up a little bit more, and then we could have got our players in areas to hurt them. Having said that, you know, my takeaway is football's about fine margins. We created more chances against Arsenal than I've ever known, and we didn't even test the keeper on any of them, really. So, you know, that's the takeaway. Yes, we dominated the ball. Yes, we dominated possession. But the only stat that matters is the 2-0 stat. So, you know, it's something we need to take away. Is in those key moments when we get those chances, we have to be clinical. Because if we go in at 1-1 or even 2-1 from the chances that we've had in the first half, it really would have tested Arsenal's resilience and mentality. Unfortunately, we couldn't put ourselves in a position to do that. That's a harsh lesson. I think they showed their experience, if I'm honest. And maybe we didn't have enough experience on the pitch, but I'm not disappointed in the players. I thought it was a reasonable performance up until the final third, and that's where we let ourselves down.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck this weekend, Casey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Tom, Gary, next, please.
Thanks, Hayley. Hi, Casey. Could I just ask
Hi,
what your thoughts were on Monday's big announcement about the new TV deal for WSL and what that means for the league and the sport?
I think it's a momentous occasion for the women's game. I think in terms of having Sky and BBC, so that actually it can be visible by all in terms of the BBC, and obviously Sky coming aboard. They've always, I think, excelled in this area in terms of sports broadcasting, and I hope they do the same in the women's game in terms of the build-up that you get, the analysis, and I hope they break the games down the way they do in the men's game. I think it's got a real opportunity to show the women's game in a different light, and go into real detail around games. So I think it's an incredible occasion. I think it's fantastic for the women's game, and I think it shows how far the women's game has come in this country in the last 5-6 years. It's credit to the FA for getting those people on board.
Agreed, yeah, and obviously playing at Old Trafford, as you said, it's a big step for the club. I think everyone would agree it's excellent news. I'm just wondering whether the fact that it comes now with no supporters in the pandemic makes it a slight shame that this moment didn't come a few years ago when we could have had a really bustling Old Trafford crowd.
Depends what way you look at it. I see it as a bit of a practice go, really, for next year, because, you know, you can play here now with less pressure, less of a crowd, so you get used to the surroundings, and then when we do it again, we do it bigger and better. But it's a great opportunity for the players.
Okay, all the very best for Saturday. Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Charlotte, next, please.
Hi, Casey. Can you hear me okay?
Hiya.
I just on the back of what Tom was saying about Old Trafford, you know, we waited so long, and then it's behind closed doors. But as you said, it's kind of a good warm up for next year. I'm just wondering what promoted the change of heart, given that the stance, I think, was to try and sell out Lee first, and whether you had any views on that.
Because we haven't got any crowds. So at the moment, we can't sell out Lee. So if I'm offered the opportunity to play here, I'm going to take it. I thought it would lift the players, if I'm honest. I think it's a good occasion. It also means that we've played here now, so it's kind of tick, and people can just leave us alone, if I'm honest. I got sick of the questions. I'm like, let's get it out of the way, and we can move forward, because it's a grass pitch and 2 goals and a ball and 11v11. And also it gives the players an opportunity to play here, I think, without the crowds. before, hopefully we do it again. So I think the real shame is that we're not allowed to broadcast it. I think we've missed a massive opportunity. Again, we're so short-sighted in the women's game because we've used our 3 games for MUTV and we can't broadcast it. So I'm really disappointed in that sense that no one's picked it up, because the FA have been badgering about playing at Old Trafford, and now all of a sudden we can't show it. So I am a bit disappointed in that sense.
Do you know why that is at all?
Because you have a 3-game rule that you are allowed to use set by the FA.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you. Thanks, Charlotte. Phil, next, please.
Hi, Casey.
Hiya.
Hi. I was just wondering what you made of the broadcast deal news, in the sense that there was talk about investment in the refereeing side of things in the women's game, how that money might be used, particularly sort of on the back of some of your comments after the Arsenal game.
I would personally welcome it.
Indeed. I was also just going to ask a bit of a team news sort of question on the injuries front. Are we looking at anything different from last time out? Anyone coming back? And also, is Lauren all right after the tackle she took last week?
After getting kicked from pillar to post, yeah, she's fine. Touch wood, we're okay this week. We've come through unscathed, and everybody's available that was available last week. So that's kind of all the news I can give on that one.
No one else to return or anything?
Not at the moment, no, unfortunately.
Okay, cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Dan from Radio Manchester, please.
Hi, Casey. You okay?
Hi, Dom.
I just wanted to go back to what Tom was talking about with the broadcasting and sort of look at the week in a whole, really. Just looking at, obviously getting the broadcast deal, now appearing at Old Trafford. How big a week is this for sort of Manchester United fans, young Manchester United fans, looking at what's happening this week with the women's game in terms of for the next generation? What impact could this week have?
I think it's massive, because I think we've always spoken about visibility and awareness in the women's game, and I think by Sky and BBC coming on board, we raise the visibility. And I'm a mum, so I always look at my little girls and I go, right, they can see it now. If they can see it, they can be it. They can actually dream about it. So I think playing at Old Trafford is fantastic. I think the broadcast deal is brilliant. And hopefully it will just encourage, lots of more girls to pick up a ball, lots more teams to be run, lots more schools to run girls' teams, lots more people to invest in the women's game, because it needs investment. And now you've got broadcast deals, maybe more sponsorship, and maybe the tabloids might write more than one paragraph in a newspaper. And we can change that 2% stat around women's sport, and we can start improving that as well. So I think it is big, but there's still lots to do.
Can I just ask for your personal opinion, when you were coming through as a young footballer, did you ever see the possibility of playing at Old Trafford as a realistic one for you?
No, never. Obviously, I think one of the things I can't shy away from is that didn't have a women's team for a long time. Well, they did, but there was one that wasn't at a level that you'd be playing at Old Trafford. And then when they didn't have one for a while, and I remember when we played 2016 FA Cup final, and I remember being quite emotional when I walked the steps when we won, because I remember going to so many FA Cup finals and all men, obviously, all male cup finals. And I used to think, I wonder what that feels like to be able to walk them steps, and just even thinking, are you tired when you walk them? And I remember being really emotional at that moment, thinking, not in my lifetime did I ever dare to even dream that I'd be doing this as a player. And now I am. So I think we just keep pushing boundaries. We keep raising the level. We keep raising the bar. I have a responsibility as a head coach to keep pushing that too.
So it must be a proud moment for you as a coach to watch your team walk out there. And I saw the pictures, I think, of when you won the championship. It walked out at half time just to say hello to the crowd and things like that. And now 2 years forward, you get to lead the team out. Yeah,
it is. When you think about that, like the crowd reception that day was unbelievable. The fans at this football club are unbelievable. So it is a shame that they're not going to be in here to cheer us on and get behind us. But I'm like, when we do it again, let's do it properly. Let's break the home records. Let's make sure that if any club can do it, we can do it. So we play here again. We play here in front of a record crowd, and we make sure the fixture is right, and we do it again. So it's going to be a great occasion, but it'll only be a great occasion if we win. So that has to be my full focus in terms of getting the players prepared to play.
Cheers, Casey. Good luck.
Cheers, Dom. Thank you.
Thanks, Dom. Rachel, please.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, Rach.
I know you said you see it as another grass pitch, 2 goals and a ball, but you've had a chance to play at some pretty big stadia throughout your career. Wembley for Team GB springs immediately to mind. So Old Trafford is right up there amongst some of the best in the world, and now you get to coach your team there. Where would this moment rank in your career, or is it perhaps something you'll reflect on afterwards?
It'll definitely be after, because if I'm really honest, I didn't even really think about where I was playing when I was playing. You never, until you stop and then you look back. And I've not even really done that because I didn't have time when I retired. I went straight into coaching. So you do look back and you go, wow. But I was never in the moment then. I was like, this is a game we've got to win. And it is probably one thing I do say to my players now is don't forget to enjoy the journey, because it's something that I probably regret if I'm honest. But I'm very much about like, let's enjoy the journey but be in the moment and play in the moment and make sure we win in the moment. So yeah, I will look back and think, brilliant. Would I love to do it in front of a crowd? Yeah, be honest. But it's one of those, I think the players deserve the crowds. I think next year we'll do it again. But, you know, it's a proud moment for the football club that we're playing here. But ultimately, I want to look back on a performance that's good with 3 points at the end of the day.
Of course. And for the players, playing in big stadia is always a huge motivation and experience. And some of your players who come through the academy, for example, will have been dreaming about playing in the Theatre of Dreams. With that comes extra nerves. How do you approach this game as a coach and kind of take your experience and keep that focus on the task ahead?
Really, honestly, I told them I didn't care that we're playing here. That's my honest answer. I was like, I don't care that we're playing at Old Trafford. I care about how we perform, how we're going to execute the game plan. 11v11, can we be better? And that's maybe a bit brutal, but that's just the way I am. It's like we cannot play the occasion. We have to make sure that we are on it. It's a fantastic occasion for those that have been here and gone away and come back again. But let's remember it by winning.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Cheers.
Thanks, Rachel. Emma, please.
Hey, Casey. Hope you're okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be taking these questions back a little bit now because I'm going to ask you about actual football. But
go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I was just interested in your kind of thought process around midfield in recent games, because there's been lots of rotation. Obviously, I understand that it's a long season, so that's normal, and given the injuries you've had as well. But yeah, have you sort of settled on what your best midfield is yet, or is that still something that you kind of want to see develop over the next couple of months?
I think it's something I need to see develop, because obviously I had a certain midfield, and then if I'm honest, it depends on form. You know, I think some players have had form at certain times, some haven't. So I'll pick players that are in form. I'll pick players that I think can impact in that game, depending on whether we're going to have the ball or not have the ball. Obviously, I've been playing Ella off the sides as well, and that's been, if I'm honest, some of it's been injury dependent based on what we've had available. And against Arsenal, there was a real clear desire to dominate the ball a little bit more. Hence why I picked that team. Did we dominate the ball more? Yeah. But it was up until the final third where we lacked.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess it's this weekend as well, when you come up against a team like West Ham, where you're expected to have more possession. Will that sort of change your thinking around how you might set up the midfield this week?
Yeah, we're tactically looking at how we can get players in spaces to hurt them. So we will pick players that we think can dominate the ball with, that are creative, that can open people up. You know, I thought Lucy Stan was very good in the first half against Arsenal and picked a reverse pass out for Ella Toon. If Ella Toon goes around a goalkeeper and puts it in, it's 1-0, and people are saying it's a good decision to play. You know, but I'll always look at my squad as a whole. I know that I've got a fantastic squad. I've got players available, and I look at how I can utilise those players in certain positions. When you don't win, everyone tells you get it wrong. When you win, everyone tells you get it right. And I think there's always a middle ground between both, if I'm honest.
Nice one. Thanks, Casey. Looking forward to seeing this.
Thank you.
Catherine, please.
Hi, Casey. Just another quick question on West Ham and your thoughts on them since they changed manager, because obviously Ollie Harder's come in since the last time you played them, and a difficult start for him. He's not been able to win in the league, and you mentioned that obviously they're fighting for their lives. So what are you expecting from them this weekend?
A dogged, compact, physical game. They'll be hard to break down. I think Martha Thomas is actually a very good centre forward in terms of causing us problems. I think they'll put it in our box. They'll want to play for set pieces based on what's happened to us previously. And they will have fights, and also don't forget, it's not just a big game for them. Their players will relish playing here too, so we're going to have to be really up for making sure that we match their fight, but then our quality should take care of itself.
Cheers, Casey. Best luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Just back to James for a final question before we go to Sandra for the last two.
Yes, sorry, Casey, and I'm glad someone else has asked the broadcasting questions. I don't have to get you to do that. But just a final one. As I was preparing for this interview, I looked at Arsenal's run-in to see who they were playing, how it works out. Is that wasted energy on your part, or do you keep a tag on what they're doing now, bearing in mind it's going to be between the two of you?
No point looking at it, really. All we can control is what we can control. If we pick up the maximum points, we are hoping they don't. But there's no point looking there. All we can look at is us and focus on us and make sure that we get the results and the 3 points on the board each week.
Cheers. Enjoy Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Just a reminder, this bit